Guys, this has got to be Geoff's best of all time. If not the best, very, very close. Guys, I just did my first time watch and full analysis of Geoff Castellucci's Carol of the Bells. So epic, so bassy, but so tasteful. The live strings are amazing. The drums are absolutely phenomenal. It builds, it swells, it does everything you want it. It's absolutely sensational. Guys, please sit back, relax, and enjoy my analysis of this incredible song by Geoff. I'll see you after. Wait, I need my Vipers. BRB. Got him. Yeah, absolutely critical. Absolutely critical. Okay, first of all, stunning intro. Very, very slow chord progression, but we are in G minor, which I believe is the key of the original, at least how it's usually done. Do, do, do. So G minor. And we get this cool descending bass line. Do, 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 do. Down to that D, down to the 5. And then Geoff, of course, comes back in as the chord progression repeats. But I love the kind of shimmering violins we hear in the beginning. And of course, just a really beautiful, bright piano sound. It feels like the environment that he's in. It's like it's got some Christmas spirit, but it's also kind of dark and spooky, which is kind of a vibe I've always felt about Carol of the Bells. But I think slowing it down like this is a total game changer. I'm all here for it. Let's listen to that intro again. That was so cool. E flat, D. We gotta take a section by line by line. This descent pattern is so stunning. I love how it's so much voice in the stereoscopic image. That's the sounds left to right. I'm sure Geoff also shot the video in accordance with how his Geoffs are laid out in here. All Geoff in the same outfit this time. But I bet the Geoffs on the right you'll hear in the right ear more, and the Geoffs on the left you'll hear in the left ear. Geoff pays very close attention to important details like that. Pretty sure that would be a priority to have it line up just purely for the viewer experience, right? It doesn't matter if you're listening just on Spotify or something, but for the video, you want to make sure you have those elements lined up. Does he do a G1 in some fashion right in the beginning? I know he does a more, he gets down to the D2, of course, at the end, but it sounds like there's a G1 sub or an undertone of some kind. If it is, it's very, very lightly layered in. Now, I'll make this disclaimer. These headphones they do not have much bass response. They're really meant for very boring, flat studio mix engineering kind of stuff. So sometimes if there's low bass stuff, these headphones just don't really get it. So to me, it sounds like something is layered in on the G1, but I also can't quite tell because there's a big cinematic drum, big bass drum kick in the beginning, which is very low. The pitch that comes off those big cinematic drums is super low. And so that could also be playing a role. One more time. How dare Geoff make an arrangement so perfectly in my wheelhouse and love for music. Telling you, Geoff and I gotta connect on something. Just gotta happen. This is so cool. This is absolutely so cool. I see he must have, there's a plugin for drums called Damage or Damage 2 that I also just got myself, and it's the biggest, best library ensembles kits of like big cinematic epic drums, war drums, car chase drums. They got everything, and it's really truly sampled. They record in this giant studio. And have professional drummers and percussionists come in and make these incredible sounds and loops. And so it's not just like a sample created from nothing. I don't know if he's using Damage, but the drums sound good. So it's possible it's Damage or, one of the other drum plugins. But just speaking on Damage specifically, it is amazing the sounds you get. Everything I produce from here on out, guys, you will hear Damage 2 in the works. This is so cool, though. I mean, Carol of the Bells has always had a really epic feel to it. And then it builds, and it's always been fantastic. For every version I've heard has that to it. I think this is what it's been missing. Now, from what I heard from Geoff's voice a second ago, it is about to pick up, but just having this really steady, powerful, epic intro, absolutely so cool. The first ascent, just on ums. Second ascent, we of course get some moving voices. Now we're about to start getting some movement.
Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Hark how the bells, sweet.
Ooh, so this is what I love about Geoff. He's so creative. So not only we get this really cool, growing intro that's changing and expanding, but then he comes in and he does the first line, how we're used to it, hark how the bells. But then instead of going, hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, he takes that break. And so it's like a pattern interrupt. It's like we're expecting it to then start going how we know it, and then immediately he's already interrupted our pattern of expectation. So, so wonderful. And then, of course, dog. We get an absolutely gargantuan G1 at the end.
Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. Ding dong, that is their song with joyful ring. Oh, caroling, one seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they pound.
I'm gonna have to pause because it's gonna go. Carol of the Bells goes in all my experience, so I gotta run it back. Yeah, what I love, especially with these Damage drums, I think he's using Damage. Just based on the sounds I've been experimenting with. We got all these stick hits and like rim shots and stuff, so he's staying away from the big boomy like war drum stuff. In this moment, you can use that as it climaxes, right? That's when you want the big war drum hits. As you're building these, like all these clicks and clacks from the sticks hitting, and you can use in this amazing software. They have kits with dumpsters where they just like beat dumpsters with wrenches and like scraped metal. They have every cool percussion sound you could imagine. So he's using these like sticks and clacks and stuff like that in the beginning here, but I'm sure he's allowing for space for those big, more war drum like sounds to come in later.
sweet silver bells all seem
See all
to
those
say,
clacks?
Cares away, Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. Ding dong, that is their song with joyful ring. Oh, caroling, one seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air.
Also, just the way that the orchestration is building behind him. His voices are building nicely right in the background. At the start of this new section, we just had ums, and then it went to more open vowels, and now it's, harmonies singing the text. And in the background, we have some lovely live strings, beautiful live strings, increasing with the drums as well. And it's all, and we also get some we get some crashes, we get some uplifters and downlifters, really building the experience. It's all flowing together in such a beautiful way.
Seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they pound, raising the sound, o'er hill and dale, telling their tale. Gaily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is Merry, 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 Merry Christmas. Merry, 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 Merry Christmas. Merry, 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 Merry Christmas.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Hell yeah. Oh, man. So good. So at the start of whatever, it's going to be hard to find sections here because it's not like verse, chorus. It builds and builds, and you expect, I think it was the I think that first time he gets to that motif, you expect it to be like a big crash of sound after it's been building so much. But then it pulls back, and you get a much more subdued sound. I think the voices go back to ums and the harmonies, and then you get like a pulse kind of in the bass register, not a vocal pulse, like a really subdued kind of underwater kick drum happening. And then it builds from there. And so much happened that I forgot the second half. So let's listen again. So it's building. Kind of chill.
Songs of good cheer. Christmas is Merry, 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 Merry Christmas. Merry, 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 Merry Christmas. Merry, 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 Merry Christmas.
So down to that D1 at the end of that, just a gorgeous, beautiful subline, like so smooth. Also, the majesty and wonder of audio engineering that Geoff can sing a sub that literally sounds bigger and louder than a full chorus of Geoff's and war drums and orchestra. I mean, guys, you got to take advantage of the wonder of modern audio engineering. It's amazing. We have this subharmonic right in the middle of the mix, and Geoff would be perfectly happy to admit subs off microphone out of audio engineering are not loud. There's some singers I know that have particularly loud subs. Manav Sharma has particularly loud subharmonics. Tu Yang, phenomenal choral bass, has loud and usable subs in an acoustic setting. Loud for subs, right? Not loud for like a big chest note. But I think Geoff would admit, I mean, he said it before, like he doesn't have the super loud low notes. He's got access to them, but he would say someone like a Tim Faust has much louder low notes. Having spent time and sung with Tim Faust can confirm his low notes are absolutely glorious and resonant, and they cut. And Geoff doesn't have that kind of voice. Has all the range in the world, but doesn't have the same kind of voice. Flavors of bass. That's what our podcast episode is called. Geoff and I's podcast episode. Check it out. We talk a lot about different kinds of bass voices. So he would be perfectly happy to admit that his subs would not be cutting over war drums and an orchestra and a chorus of singers. But with a proper mix and a proper mixing engineer, and of course very well sung subharmonics, you can make them in a way to where they're just rattling your bones in the middle of this huge epic thing. Absolutely stunning. So G1 all the way down to D1 in that subharmonic pattern. Gorgeous. He also has this. I also have a very similar plugin. I think it's called Dark Pop Drums or Urban Legend Drums or something. It's another plugin, and he's probably not using that exact same one because there's a number that can do this kind of thing. But just that cool kind of drum where it's really underwater and echoing in the background. It's really just giving us a pulse. It's just kind of keeping us in time when we have this kind of vocal and instrumental down section. But I do love all those wonderful tom fills, just so cool. Adds so much. Again, keeps the drive going without being like too in your face about it. But every measure, so we get another little like drum fill to keep us going. One more thing. Geoff is really opting for you can see it in his mouth. He's probably, now of course this is all lip synced, we all know that, but you can see it. He's probably, given how it sounds, he's probably actually lip syncing very similar to how he sang these parts because they sound very bright and forward. Instead of or some other color that he could use. So I think it sounds very much like how it looks. Even the bass, instead of right? Even the bass, you can tell he's singing through a smile. Like so inventive and cool, totally different. We have gone from a full orchestral cinematic boomy epic feel to it still feels epic because in the low register he still has that bass kind of pulsing. I love that pulse bass that he's using, and the chord progression's epic. We love a G minor, and then almost reminds me of like Pippin's song from The Hobbit, where like there's like this darkness happening underneath, and in the film score you get that too, but there's this like beautiful light voice singing over top of it. Now Geoff's voice is a little different than Pippin's. Shout out to Billy Boyd, but I get that kind of feel, like a big darkness underneath with the pulsing and the chord progression, but this lovely solo that I think goes up to a D4, and of course remains in chess, and it's not a powerful kind of singing. He's keeping it very light and angelic.
Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away.
Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, big and the
I love the slide down into the G1. Oh, like just right in there. I've actually, you know what's really cool, guys? I think I have unlocked how Geoff accesses his low chest notes. I've been playing around with it. Like there's a certain kind of compression he uses in his voice that I've been playing around with, and it has extended my reliable low chest range for sure. It doesn't look pretty when I do it. I usually have to like crane my neck like up a little bit, but it gets down to a point where I can kind of, it almost feels like a register switch, but it's not going into any kind of chest fry or vocal fry. It's just a way of like manipulating the vocal track, and it sounds like when I do it, my voice is like a little bit higher version of Geoff's. Like last night, all the way into the evening, I could do it down to a B flat, which is like pretty unheard of for me to have a B flat in pure chest voice all day, and not for any kind of went out drinking heavily the night before, just kind of had it. So new tools unlocked, but I love this, and that Geoff he goes. So also, he's staying in one octave, and of course we're waiting for the low G, right? We're just like, we're hungry and thirsty for it, right? And then he gets through, and you think, oh, maybe he's just gonna sing the whole thing, do 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 do, and then he goes down to the D, and you're like, well, if he goes down to the D, he's gonna go down to the G1. Dude, we're even using the same chords. We're even using some of the same really unusual chords. I literally just used this chord, maybe part of this chord progression in an original song I'm writing the other day. It's so cool. Guys, these are the chords we need in music. So awesome. Geoff, I love you. Yes.
Gaily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Merry, merry, merry.
See, he's making us wait for it again. He just goes straight down into the G1 there. Oh man, come on, Geoff, you could do it. You could do it. Please do it. Please do it.
Gaily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Merry, 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 merry Christmas. Merry, 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 merry Christmas. Merry, 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 merry Christmas.
Before we get this final progression, also, that is another technique that is so effective that also I have been using in my original music. I'm telling you, this collaboration, it's just gotta happen. It's gotta happen someday. Universe, please. Or I'll just email Kathy and say, Kathy, we know it needs to happen. What was I even saying? Oh, yes. So earlier in the song, before we went into this big Merry Christmas, like he goes into this huge, gigantic, cavernous subharmonic section. It's super epic, and it goes straight into it. This time, we have everything sets us up the same way. This is another pattern interrupt. Everything sets us up the same way for him to go straight in to those low subharmonics. And then we get a full break of everything. I think we got a little chime or a little ding, and then it goes into it. So it's like it build, and everyone goes, yeah, and then it's a fake out, and then it hits like a beat later, and it totally scrambles your system. This is something that especially EDM producers have been doing forever. Absolutely forever. They'll do a drop one way. It'll build up the same way to the second drop. Everyone in the crowd goes, whoa, and it's just a miss. It's a complete miss, and then the beat hits, and everyone goes, oh my God. That's what just happened.
Merry, 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 merry Christmas.
Merry, merry, merry,
Merry, merry, merry.
merry, 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 merry Christmas.
Yes. Big brass. Really, really excellent and awesome in every way. I'm going to flag just a couple of things in this final section. It's a little bit of reverse of how we started the song, because we have this huge section, the subharmonics, right? Super epic. And then he goes into the moving harmonies on whatever. moving harmonies on ah, and then the movement, I believe, also slows down, or doesn't slow down. It reduces some, the amount of movement in the voices, and he goes to an and he doesn't even hit us with a big low G at the end, which I think is fantastic because we're satiated. We have tons of low Gs and lower from this cover so far. We don't need another big low G at the end, so I don't think he used a low G at the beginning either. Given the ending, I'm not gonna go back and listen, but I think he started it, and then like the depth went out throughout the middle, and then he ended it above on that G2 instead of the G1, which I think is brilliant. Absolutely, and I kind of leaves you wanting more too. It's like, oh, I wanted that low G at the end. I didn't personally. I love it when he leaves out the low note. Sometimes it really is fantastic, and sometimes it's great. I think this one, it really works. But for those that did want it at the end, guess what? Now you're going to go back and listen again. So we got all ah. Then to ooh. Okay, so just went ah to ooh. Just went ah to ooh. I thought he went to But still, a closure of the vowel. And let's you know what? I'm gonna watch that afterwards. Guys, I hope you enjoyed me freaking out about the great Geoff Castellucci. This is definitely one of my favorites from him all time, and that is very high praise because I genuinely like everything this man does. I'm gonna have to think about it. This is very much towards the top, if not the top. Absolutely fantastic. If you enjoyed my analysis and if you enjoyed my reaction as well, but more importantly, the analysis, if you learned something, please do consider supporting me on Patreon. That's the best way to support me. And I'll see you in the next Geoff video. Peace.